Deuces.
It's live.
Don't screw it up. Okay,
All right.
so here we go. Um, Hang on, I'm looking. I got a thing on my screen doing something weird.
Okay.
But you sound good. You look good. The picture is really good. I can see you really well, so that's important. Okay, so whenever you're ready, just like I said, just like I just met you for the first time. Hi, my name is Kevin. Who are you? And tell me everything about you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Carla Eustache. I am the owner of Style Perfect Events. We're an event and wedding planning firm here in Charlotte, North Carolina in the South. I've had my business for almost 6 years, and I plan about 90% weddings and about 10% corporate events. I love the market here in Charlotte. It's awesome. A lot of friendly vendors. Everyone's very helpful. Just a great market. I love what I do. It's been amazing. I plan a lot of modern weddings. Um, yeah. Cut! Cut, cut,
Okay, so I'm gonna have you do that again, because here's why. When you started talking, like when you're listening to me, you sit very still. When you started talking, you
cut.
started like waving in your chair and
I
moving
was
around and doing
moving.
this.
Yeah.
So that's okay. That's why we do it. That's why like I said, I'll edit stuff. So go ahead and do it again. Like I said, just hi, my name is, this is where I'm from, and everything you basically just said, corporate 90/10, that whole bit. So go for it.
All right. Hi, I'm Carla Eustache. I am the owner of Style Perfect Events. We're a wedding and event planning firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. We plan about 90% of weddings and 10% corporate events. We love what we do. Charlotte is an awesome market. Have had my business for about 6 years. Um, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's start right there. So 6 years you've been in business. What were you doing before that?
In my former life, I worked in advertising in New York City. I was an account manager for the Ad Council
Aha. How long were you in New York City?
for 3 years.
Did you have roots there, or just you graduated college and it's advertising and you just went to the big city?
Yep, well, I studied advertising, and New York is all about advertising. So I had interned in New York the summer before at Y&R, and it was just the next step.
Got it. Okay. That's interesting. I want to delve into that a little bit. So, all right. So now you said you interned with Y&R. Did you actually work there, or did you work for another firm? You worked for, no, you said something else.
I worked, when I moved to New York, I worked for the Ad Council, which is the
Okay.
largest public service advertising
Right, right,
company.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I
got it. Okay.
managed there. Yeah, but before that, I had did a internship with the 4A's, their MATE program, which is the Multicultural Advertising Internship Program. So they
Mm-hmm.
bring students from all over and they place them in ad agencies in New York. I think that year we had a class in Chicago. So you go down there for 10 weeks. You get to hang out with all of the different folks. Like I was in account management. Some of the other interns were in media. Some were in graphics. Um, so it was just an awesome opportunity, and went back to school after that summer and then came back to New York to work.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'm gonna come back to that definitely. So 6 years in business, mostly weddings. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, what's what is something that is going on in your area, in your city, in your region right now? Whether it be a trend or something like that. What is something that you're seeing quite a bit of?
Hmm. Let's see, trends. Um, I guess it just really kind of runs the gamut. I mean, being in the South, you'll continue to see more of the rustic type weddings. But I've been noticing that more people are leaning towards our museums. We have two big venues here, the Foundation for the Carolinas and the Mint Museum Uptown, which gives you that much more kind of modern feel. So I think we may be getting back to more modern weddings versus that kind of rustic barn. feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. Um, are you seeing technology being integrated more into weddings? I mean, obviously corporate, it's all about technology, but
Mhm.
with your weddings, aside from like Instagram or anything, are you seeing any other technologies pop up yet?
No.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything that you're seeing that is driving you nuts? Like, for example, down here, we constantly have to deal with shabby chic. So it's like cowboy boots and mason
Uh-huh.
jars and
Mhm.
burlap and all that crap. So like is there a trend or anything that you're seeing there, whether it be style wise or just like, oh my god, if I see another photo booth with feather boas, I'm gonna punch someone. Like is there anything like that where you're done with it?
Well, I think what makes Charlotte so unique, being a southern city, is that you get a mix of transplants. So a lot of my clients, I mean, I do find some clients are here from Charlotte, but then a lot of my clients are from New York, or some are from the Midwest, from Ohio or Michigan. So a lot of the weddings I do are more of that modern style. So I can do both the rustic chic, and you still see that because we have a lot of venues that are popping up. Uh, Carriage houses with horses, a lot of barns popping up, but you still have the best of both worlds because you have our fabulous uptown where I was saying you have those museums, you have the modern hotels, you have like a NASCAR Hall of Fame. Like there are a lot of unique venues where you can do more of a modern style. So I wouldn't say there's anything that's really driving me crazy. I think we have a good mix and a good diversity.
Okay, good, good. How many generally how many events do you do in a year?
Mhm. Yeah, on average, I do 14 events a year.
And I'm assuming full planning on those.
It runs the gamut. So that includes the corporate events. So I've done work with McDonald's, Davidson College, and then I do all levels of service. So full planning. I also do design work for clients, and then I'll do some coordination as well.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Um, Having a background in advertising,
Mhm.
how has that been beneficial in running and marketing your own business?
It's been very beneficial. It gives you that business savvy approach. So I know how to do business plans, marketing plans, have familiarity with social media. Although that's changed tremendously from when I was working in advertising. I mean, there was some social media, but not really. I had just taken a course at NYU. I got a professional certificate in marketing in their strategy and branding course. So they did have like one social media course, but it's nowhere, what it is now. So it's been very helpful.
Good, good. Okay. Now, how long have you been a member of ISIS?
Ooh, I guess, is it 6 years now? I mean, I joined ISIS in December, maybe December of '08. No, 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 December of '09. So
Mhm.
it's been a while. I love it. I mean, that was
and
the
what,
first thing that I did when starting my business is I went out to the different professional organizations. So I went to NACE meetings, I went to ISIS meetings, our Association of Bridal Consultant meetings, and chose ISIS as the organization for me in my company.
and what roles have you served on? What was your over those 6 years? How did you get to where you are now?
I've always been on the board. So I joined in December, and then that March of 2010, I joined our committee for our EV Awards Gala. And then that June, they asked me to be on the board. So I've been a board of director 1 year, VP of membership for 2 years, president elect last year, and now I'm the current president.
What's the best part about being president of a chapter?
I think really seeing everyone develop and grow in their leadership roles, and just getting them excited about ISIS. I'm very passionate about the organization. It's done a lot for me in my business, and it's just an overall great organization internationally. So just really bringing them to leadership conferences and just seeing them grow.
Mm-hmm. What's the worst part about being president of a chapter?
Uh, I don't like to micromanage, but you have to follow up. You know, if you want to get things done, you have to follow up. So I just have to kind of put that behind me and say, hey, they'll be okay. You may get a lot of emails, but you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm. What would you say so far? I mean, you're halfway into it, so probably you guys, just like us, we're all gonna have a mid-year retreat.
Yes.
We're gonna take a really good look back and say, okay, first 6 months, what did we accomplish? What are we proud of? What worked? What didn't work? All that. We're just really gonna just take a real deep dive on all of that. So what would you say for that so far? What has been your chapter's biggest success thus far, and where are some things that you're looking to improve or build upon moving forward for the next 6 months?
Well, the first 6 months have been really awesome. My board has allowed me to really push them. And one of my goals was really getting ISES out in the community and just building those relationships outside of special events. We have a huge hospitality industry here in Charlotte, and just to let them know about ISES, and they should be involved with ISES. So there are a lot of initiatives that we rolled out the past 6 months. One being I placed our board in the Charlotte Business Journal. So expanding our reach into the business community of Charlotte. A lot of our members do work, on the corporate side. So really kind of honing in on that corporate side, not necessarily the social aspect or weddings. And then also I was able to get a partnership with one of our Visit Charlotte's, our CRVA here in Charlotte. So what they're going to do is in January, if you are a member of ISES, a Charlotte member, you can join the Visit Charlotte organization, and they're going to provide $100 off your membership, which is awesome. And so a lot of our members are members of Visit Charlotte, and they love it. And that's where all of the conventions that come to Charlotte, all of the conferences, they all go through our CRVA, all the proposals, RFPs. So that's just a really good opportunity. And one of the last things that we've done in terms of partnership and really spreading the name of ISES in the community is and this is an idea I got from another chapter, and I think it was Dallas. They were doing something ISES around town, and they went out to the local bridal show. And they had a booth at the local bridal show. So we'll be doing that this year. But one thing that we did is they usually host a vendor networker before their bridal show to bring all the vendors together. So we partnered with them on their networker, and we planned it so that we could really show out and let people know what ISES is about. So not only did we get to bring our members, but then it was also a member drive in terms of bringing their vendors to the networker to get to know about us. So that was an awesome event, and that'll culminate in 2 weeks with the bridal showcase. So we'll be there, we'll have a booth, and we'll be representing our members and really pushing professionalism in the industry and why brides should work with ISES members and our members here in Charlotte.
Okay, good. And is there anything that you're looking to build on or improve in the next 6?
Next 6 months, communications. We've struggled a bit with our communications. I think we have a good system going now, but just keep improving upon that and making sure we're getting our correspondence out in enough time so that people can sign up for our monthly events. But other than that, I mean, it's been really great. My programs committee has been awesome. And like I said, the board has really allowed me to push them, so I'm really happy about that.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the topics that you guys have presented at your monthly educational meetings this year so far?
Our first event was with the fabulous Steve Kimball in July. So we had 2 programs. We had a luncheon with Steve, and he talked about, tips on success. And then we had an evening program with him where he talked about more of the global trends. So that was awesome, and we were able to tap in 2 different audiences, because you always know some people can't make a luncheon and some people can't make an evening program. So since we had him for the entire day, he was able to do those 2 programs for us. August, I'm trying to think, what do we do in August? Let me just go through the topics. We've had a CSEP luncheon. which was nice. And I know one thing, what we're doing at ISIS is really trying to work with our chapters that are in the area. So we brought up the Greater Triangle chapter, their president, current president and president-elect, who are new CSCPs, and they spoke to our group about the CSCP and the importance. And they actually started an accountability group. So they have emailed those who said, "Are you interested?" Just checking in with them, hey, just making sure you sign up, which was awesome. And we also brought in another organization or company that's a member of the Greater Triangle chapter, Motiva, and they do corporate team building. So we did a program on corporate team building exercises. We do our annual field trip. So this year we got to tour Wilmington, which was great, and we love getting out in the Carolinas. Such an awesome place to visit. In the previous past, we've been to Charleston, we've been to Asheville. So we really enjoyed our time in Wilmington. And then coming up next month, we are going to be at our convention center. And this past summer, they hosted one of their largest events ever. They hosted the AKA conference. So the premise of this program is how to serve 400 plus meals, or maybe, I can't recall, maybe 500 or something plus meals in 10 minutes. And we'll have a behind the scenes, a chef's dinner in the kitchen of the convention center. So just really that mega large scale event. So that will be great.
Cool. So now are you, we did something similar. We formed like a discussion group for CSEP, and we have what we call the accountability buddy or something, like, keeps after someone, make sure you're studying and this, that, and the other. Do you have plans to sit for the exam soon?
I do. I was challenged by Ryan, the president of the Greater Triangle chapter, at our luncheon. So I do have plans. And one thing that we're also doing for our members are providing them with opportunities to get scholarships and grants. So our CVRA has an educational foundation. So at one of our programs, they came to speak, and they do an educational scholarship every quarter that's up to $1,000. So I will be applying for that grant to take the CSCP, and do plan on taking it this year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually taking it in January, so.
Very nice.
We'll see. Yeah, I have Jennifer, well, a lot of people, but specifically Jennifer Claire Scott out of New York City. She recruited me to be on the international committee for the Education Council or whatever the hell it is, but you can only be on that if you're a CSEP. So right now I'm like not officially on that until I get the 4 letters after my name.
Yes, yeah.
So her and a million other people have given me shit about it. So I'm gonna take it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So.
Oh, you'll pass. You'll be fine.
Well, part of me says I've been in the industry long enough that I should, but I'm telling you, I know people who are smarter than me who failed it the first time and had to take it the second time. So, who knows? I could blow it. I could totally blow it.
No, you'll be good. And I just look at it, and I think it was really inspiring to have both Ryan and Meredith at our luncheon. Ryan owns an entertainment and DJ company, and Meredith is a photographer. And they're versed in all aspects of the events because they see that in what they do, but they also, studied everything to take the CSCP and pass. So I think it's awesome because not anyone can take the CSCP, but I think event planners are not the only ones that need to take the CSCP in terms of showing, professionalism in our industry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, so many people, obviously planners, they see the value in it, but you're right. A lot of vendors are like, well, I don't know anything about lighting. I don't care about catering. I just do this one thing, but you really should know everything, Again, I don't make the food. I don't bake the cake. I don't play the music, but I understand how all those things work.
Yeah, and that makes us a very great team player because we're knowledgeable.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool that Ryan and I, Ryan's, I know, a great leader, and Meredith Walters, she's someone I met a few years ago at ISIS Live, and I've always appreciated my conversations with her. I think that's really cool that I didn't know that she had gotten it, but that's great that she did. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk more about some business. Tell me, I mean, I guess I'm always curious as to the real differences among different cities. You know,
Hmm.
like I planned events in New York City, and then I came down to Austin. And so, sure, a lot of the things are the same, but there's just enough subtle differences that it definitely took some adjusting. So, if I were to land tomorrow in Charlotte and I wanted to be planning events,
Hmm.
what do you think? What do I need to know? What makes your city you think different than, say, an Austin, Texas, or a Chicago, or Orlando, Florida? You know,
Hmm.
what is different about Charlotte and the industry?
Well, what I always hear is our Southern hospitality. I can't tell you how many people come to Charlotte and they're just like, wow, everybody is so nice. And even me, moving from advertising into this industry and not really knowing hospitality, um, it's just been amazing. If you show people that you're a hard worker and you do a great job, like they're willing to give you a chance here in this industry. So yes, our industry is a saturated market because people are so nice, but you have to do a great job and they'll refer you. In a lot of business here, it's all about word of mouth. So I know in some cities, the Knot or other websites are really big, but here it's all about who you know. And that's, other cities too, but here I think especially it's that word of mouth.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. What would you say, whether a recent event or maybe one that you have coming up? Tell me about one that you're really excited about or that was just really amazing. Like,
Well,
so, like if you were gonna brag about one and be like, oh, you should have seen this one. Like, what would you talk
I mean,
about?
I guess I have to brag about one of our past presidents' wedding. Um, his wedding was this past October, and that was a true ISIS team effort, and we will probably submit it. There were over 550 plus people there in attendance, 30 plus vendors that you had to manage, and it was just awesome. And it's because of the ISIS team members. That was my largest wedding, and it went so smooth. And it was, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it went so smooth, and it was such an awesome experience because I was working with people that I know and that I know have ethics and that I know that are members of ISIS and that are going to work at the professional, the highest level of professionalism. So I have to brag about that one. And, a lot of our fellow ISIS members were in attendance there as guests. So they said it was the wedding of the year. So I would brag about that one.
Okay, fair enough. Now, okay, so you said you've been in this business for 6 years. How
Mhm.
long have you been? How I can't even talk. How long have you been married yourself?
6 years.
Aha! Now, is there a connection?
Now the connection is the recession. So I moved to Charlotte in 2008. I had no idea that I would not be able to find a job. My original plan, since I had worked in the nonprofit realm, was to find something corporate in marketing, and that was not the case. So, and I would have loved to do, start maybe corporate events. Like I've always had a passion for event planning. But as you know, people were nixing corporate events altogether. And so I said, you know what? People are always going to get married. So I went ahead and bought some books, started networking, went to, every networking event, um, had a coffee date with everybody, to let them know what I was doing. And that's what started my business and, put together my business plan and have been going strong ever since.
So, I love this. I always love, you know, we have a lot of schools right here in Austin. Like we have UT, which is a huge school. You got Texas State down the road, not too far.
Yes.
I mean, even Baylor isn't that far. So we have a lot of young people, interns, emerging
Yes.
professionals, things like that.
The
And
UT
and
was for
that's
advertising.
yeah.
Remember all
And
the
it's
UT
really
folk?
it's well, it's really great to have them, but I think a lot of them have misconceptions about like what it's really like to be a planner, and I blame part of that on well, some of the bad movies that have been made about wedding planning and reality TV and things like that. So, connected to that, also there's a big difference between what people think wedding planners do and what they actually do. And then not only that, but there's a difference if, let's say, you were a wedding planner that worked for another company versus you owning your own company. So, talk to me a little bit about, what are the realities of running a business? I mean, what do the first 2 years really look like? Like when you're dying to make a buck. So like imagine you were talking to some young, I'm a 22-year-old, I just got out of college and I want to plan events and I'm going to start my own business and rainbows and sunshine, everything's perfect. It's easy, right? What do you say to that person? What is it really like to be a planner and run a business?
Well, yeah, I tell them rainbows and sunshine, that's like 10%. Like, when we execute the event, it's fabulous, but that's really only 10% of your job. The majority of your job is the business side. So, I mean, you're out there selling, you're a salesperson. Um, your books, you're managing your books in terms of finances, your budgeting. Um, I mean, you do everything. So, and I have had interns in the past, and I have them do everything in terms of the back end because, like I said, 10% is the execution, but everything else is planning it and making sure that you have business. And in the wedding business, you don't have those repeat clients. Yes, you have referrals of friends and bridesmaids and cousins and coworkers, but hopefully they're not coming back to get married a second time. So it's all about selling.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that that's the biggest thing that they overlook, especially young folks, is they think like it just happens. Like, it's like, oh, I graduated, so hire me, just give me a job and pay me $45,000 a year. And I'm like, okay, go sell something, go
Hmm.
get some clients. And
Yeah.
they don't realize that how how much sales really is a part of this job. And not only just like in the strictest sense of the word of sales, but I mean literally almost everything you do somehow leads back to sales. Your
It does.
website, that's your brand. Your brand is about sales. Networking. Why do you network? Because it's about sales and referrals.
Mhm.
Just every single thing you do. Why do you go to TSE? So I can learn more, so I can be at the top of my game, so I can speak intelligently about this thing in a consultation,
Mhm.
sales. Like it really, at the end of the day, that's the fuel in the engine.
It's
Sales.
it is even on the wedding day. I mean, the wedding day is stressful because not only are you trying to make your client happy, but you are trying to impress all of their guests, the vendors that you're working with. So I mean, you have a lot of people that are watching you, and you have to be on.
Right. Like you said, and that all goes to your brand.
Mhm.
I mean, so many times I've heard people say, to some of the planners, the wedding planners who, maybe they had a decent run for a couple of years, but then they're not in business. Austin is still a relatively small city, and certainly the special events community is a small one. So we all know each other. We all play in the same sandbox. And you can go right down the list and go, oh, that planner? Oh, I heard she panics. Like that rumor will spread real fast, and there's nothing a bride wants less than a planner that panics. And like you said, maybe the bride didn't see it, but Aunt Sally did, and so did cousin, Nellie. And so they saw it, and word gets around. Especially like you said in your city where referrals and networking are the key. Your reputation is your brand. You are your brand. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool. So let's see here. What else? Um, what is something maybe that you're looking forward to in 2015?
In 2015, I am looking to expand my corporate business. So I will be joining Visit Charlotte. I've been attending a lot of the Charlotte Business Journal events. So just really getting out there. I think all the corporate business that I've gotten thus far has just been more, I don't know, I guess organic, like it just happened. Nothing I've gone out and sought. It's just happened through just having relationships with people in the industry. So. I think actively seeking more corporate business, and I'm excited about that. Corporate is definitely on an uptick. A lot of my colleagues were super swamped, in the fall with social business, and then they were even crazier in December. So I mean, it's so hopeful, it's so exciting, just to see how much Charlotte is growing and how much the economy is doing better. So it's awesome, very exciting.
Yeah, and just for my own info, how big is Charlotte? How many people live
Don't
there?
ask me that. I don't know. I need to get in my Charlotte Business Journal. I'm working on it.
But but are you guys a million? You're not a million, are you?
Really don't know. So you'll have to cut and
Okay.
edit and let me search.
Well, I'll Google it or Wikipedia. I just didn't
Yeah.
know, like, as far as, because see, Austin, as much as, see, Austin is enjoying a popularity spike right now. Like, it's cool and everything, kind of like what Las Vegas was 5, 10
Yeah.
years ago. But we're still a small city. We're only 650,000. I mean, Houston is 2.2 million. Dallas is 1.5 million. But we're still small.
Yeah, I mean Charlotte is about the same. So I'm looking here, census numbers. This is May 22nd, 2014. It says we bypassed Fort Worth, Texas, and we are now the nation's 16th most populous city. We stand at 792. So
Got
I
it.
mean,
Okay.
Charlotte is still, I mean, we are still very small,
Hmm.
very, very, very small. And there's still a lot of things that we cannot get in Charlotte that are not in our market when it comes to decor or those specialty items that you want to get for your clients that you'll get in Atlanta or you'll get in New York City or you'll get in Miami. So a lot of stuff, you still will have to get from Atlanta or different places, and some of those salespeople are not in Charlotte. So.
And now, how do you combat that? So you're sitting down with a bride, and she's all over Pinterest,
Mhm.
and she's got a bunch of stuff that you know for a fact you can't source locally. Now you can get it. I mean, you can have it shipped in from
Oh
Atlanta,
yeah,
New York, or hell, you can have it shipped in from Europe if you
yeah,
want. But of
well,
course,
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't want to pay for it. So how do you deal with that when a bride says that? When she's like, "I want chameleon chairs," like
You
this is an issue we have in Austin. We can't get chameleon chairs.
you
I got to
can't.
get them out of Dallas. Yeah, we don't
Uh,
have a rep here.
okay, we can. Well, Classic. We can get Chameleon chairs through Classic Party Rentals. So I guess we have one up, maybe.
So,
um,
but what do you say to that bride? What do you say to that bride who wants all that stuff, and you go, okay, you can have it, but I literally have to ship that in from Atlanta.
yeah,
So,
well, it
how do you how
depends.
do you deal with that?
Well, with my full planning brides, when I'm managing their budget, it's like we kind of pick and choose what we want. Because I've shipped in ghost chairs from Atlanta, and you have to pay for them to stay in Charlotte the night, which is fine. Then we may do something else. Then we made it, and that's why it's good to be very knowledgeable in your industry. It's very good to go to these conferences because I can source almost anything because I go to the conferences, I see what's out there, I have relationships with other people. So if you want it and you have the money, we can get it. Like, that's not a problem. That's not an issue at all. So yeah, those that have the money, like, it's not an issue. And
What
but
about those ones? What about the ones that don't?
we prioritize. You can get one of those off your wish list.
Good, good. Now that's interesting. Yeah, see, we have ghost chairs here. Everybody's got those, but I
Yeah.
can't get chameleon chairs. Not locally.
See, and we don't have ghost. You know, there are a few companies. I'm gonna say reputable companies. Um, AFR has theirs, but they have the arms. So I mean, we're very limited in what you can get here. We have two or three companies that do lounge furniture, two companies that do props and decor. So.
Mhm. Yeah, we have that same issue. I mean, as far as, yeah, fabrication,
Mhm.
custom made props and design, we have two companies, and
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
So, you get bids from two of them, and there's no third option. I mean,
yeah.
that's what we have. I mean, yeah,
Well,
plenty of linens and rentals. We've got that.
yeah,
Tons of photographers.
yes.
But if you
Same
want
here.
a custom designed bar, okay, I got two people I can call.
Well, you
That's
need to make a friend with people that build things. So you take the step further, and there are some people that used to work for larger event planning companies that were, the fabricators that may freelance. And even one of my photographers, he builds stuff. So I've had him build tabletops and backdrops. And if I needed him to build a bar, he'll probably build a bar. So you have to get creative.
Yeah. Now, so you also mentioned obviously going to conferences and things like that and expanding your network,
Mhm.
beyond just Charlotte. I couldn't agree with you more how that's incredibly important. Um, through those conferences, who are some people maybe that you've met and had conversations with at lunch, or maybe you saw just their presentation that have really influenced you? Who are some of the people you've seen that you
I
really
love
enjoyed?
Austin. Woohoo!
Wait. Say that again?
I love Austin. Okay, so Austin, New Orleans, DC, Nashville. Let's see where else. Yeah, Dallas. I mean, a lot of the places in Texas. Um, Atlanta, of course, because they're close. So it's nice. I mean, we've definitely been inviting each other out. So kind of in our area, we have Atlanta, Coastal Carolina, Greater Triangle chapter in Charlotte. So we all have been communicating this year and kind of inviting each other to our programs and events, or if they need help with fundraisers or raffles. So that's been really good. Because that's the closest. So if you do have to outsource something, it would be a little bit less to bring it in from Atlanta than it would be New York. Um, so I would say those chapters, and I would say all of them. It's so informative and enlightening to hear what everyone is doing, and you really don't need to reinvent the wheel. You come up with a few creative ideas, but so many chapters have done so much. So it's just bringing that back home.
Now, is there a specific planner or designer, whether it be someone you've met or just someone that you see in the magazines or online, that you sort of look to like, wow, that person's really amazing. They're really doing it, or anyone
I'm
like that?
trying to think. I can't remember everyone's names. Um, I do like Clink Events, and that's another one of your folks. Love them because they do both corporate and weddings, and they have a really good stronghold in your market. Um, let's see. There was a guy who I met. He did a color program, a color presentation. I feel like he was in Wisconsin. I can't remember his name right now, but he was awesome, and that probably doesn't help because I can't remember his name. Um, I think there were some folks in Vegas. We had King Doll out here. Greater Triangle chapter hosted King Doll. So that was an awesome presentation to see, what they can do there out in Vegas for New Year's Eve. So I know they are pretty crazy right now. I'm in preparation for tomorrow. Um, yeah, I mean, it's always inspiring.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Hmm.
there's one specific person or persons. So
Hmm. And when it comes to inspiration aside from people, is there something that lights a fire in you? Is it, do you put on music and try to find your creative space? Do you walk around and look at architecture? Where do you draw sort of that
inspiring.
non-event inspiration from?
For me, it's all around you. I mean, just walking around. I love home goods. Um, I love linens. I love fabrics. So fabric stores. Um, it's funny, when your parents or your mom read Better Homes and Garden, you thought it was like this magazine for an old person. But I love my Better Homes and Garden subscription. Um, so I would just say anywhere, anything can be inspiring, but what really gets me going are linens and fabrics.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. Um, what is something I would say maybe on a bigger scale, perhaps industry-wide? Is there anything you can think of? I guess maybe concern is the word. Is there anything going on in our industry right now that you're concerned about or that is maybe frustrating to you? Just anything you can think of like that.
I don't have any concerns. I mean, I think we're on a good trajectory. Um, it's just nice to see the economy picking up, the emphasis on education. I know when we get to Anaheim, ISES is going to be unveiling some kind of educational components or kind of outline for everyone. So I think that's great. So no huge concerns. I think as long as we push the CSCP and professionalism, I think that'll help uplift our industry, and because there's really no barrier to entry, which is fine because that gives opportunity. But then we also want to make sure that we're doing the best for our clients.
Right, right. Yeah, we are still, I remind people that we're still a young industry, I mean, sure, the industry of, I mean, a wedding planner, that didn't exist 30 years ago. I mean, that just doesn't, that wasn't even a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't even prominent until maybe 10, 15 years ago, really.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly in smaller or third market cities, you would never make a living doing that.
Yeah.
And when you compare that to, say, like advertising or marketing, which has basically been around since the days of billboards,
Yeah.
before television, before radio, advertising's been around. You look at mass industry, steel and, the stock market, those industries have been around for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're a baby, we're a total baby. And that is why, like, you would never hear someone say, yeah, I'm going to be a hedge fund manager. I'm just going to start tomorrow because I saw a movie and it looked like it was a cool job. Well, no one would ever say that because they'd be like, oh, it's probably hard, and I bet you got to learn stuff. But people do say, well, I got married, well, no, I went to my sister's wedding last year, so I'm going to be a wedding planner now. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's an actual statement that I hear about 5 times a year.
Well, I think the more we grow and the more people come around event planners, the more they know. Because just my friends and family, seeing what I do, when people say that, bring it up, especially like my husband, like when people bring that up to him, like, oh, your wife's a wedding planner, that seems so fabulous. He's like, it's a lot of hard work. So I think the more people know, I think the more we'll get respected.
I agree with you. Well, it's because, again, most people think we just play with flowers all day.
Uh-huh.
And really, and I don't know, I don't know if this is measurable, but I heard someone say to me once, our job is basically 3 components: risk management,
Mm-hmm.
problem solving, and creativity.
Yes.
And they said, if you had to guess, what percentages do you think of each of those it's our job? And anyway, I took their answer, and now whenever I have an intern or someone who wants to be an intern in the room, I ask them that. I say, show me a pie chart with those 3 things: risk management, problem solving, creativity.
Yeah.
And they're always like, well, I think it's like 60% creative, and then like the other you split in the middle. But the reality is part of the reason what they don't understand is that so much of our job is risk management. That's probably ultimately the majority of it, actually executing an event. So anyway, so someone had told me, and again, I don't know if this is measurable or true, but I was told it's 94% risk management, 4% problem solving for when you didn't risk manage enough, and then 2% creative. And of the 2% that's creative, 50% of that is creatively solving a problem. And I was like, that's probably about right. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, as soon as a bride tells you she wants fireworks, you go, okay, I got to get a permit. What's the fire? Like, you don't just go, oh, do you want blue or red fireworks?
Yes, no.
That's not how it
the
works.
first thing you think about. That should not be the first thing you think about.
Right, yeah. You're not a planner if that's the first thing you think about. You're a designer. You're a designer, which is great. You're a designer, but yeah. Cool. So let's see. So what else? Is there anything else that this is where I sort of turn it to you a little bit? Is there anything that you want to say that, again, if this were like, think about when you're like on the Tonight Show and you're famous and you got a new movie coming out, they do a pre-interview and they say, what do you want me to ask you about? Things like that. So is there anything that you would want to get out, a message? If you knew that every single member of ISIS across the world was about to see your video, what would you want to say?
Event planners are awesome. You must hire an event planner. It'll make your life so much easier. Pretty simple.
Right. If you're a good one, that is.
Yes.
Okay. So, I think that's pretty good. I don't want to steal too much more of your time because I know it's, the day before New Year's Eve and you are a little under the weather. So, what I'll do is, like I said, I'll edit it down. It'll take me a while. I don't know that I'll have it done by the time we get to Anaheim. If I'm optimistic, maybe, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
have to edit another one down too from, like I said, that guy from Kuala Lumpur, so it takes a little while. If you have, and I'm sure I can find this stuff like on your Facebook page or website or whatever, but if you have any images specifically that you'd like to send me that I can incorporate in, like for example, if you were talking about that one wedding, I can put like some pictures in over your voice to sort of.
Okay.
Anyway, if you have anything like that that you want to incorporate images or even a little bit of video or something, I can do that.
Okay. Will do. Well, I
That'd be
hope I
fun.
gave you enough information. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. My last question. So when are you bringing me over to Charlotte? I mean, seriously.
When we have the budget to fly people, if you can come for free, it don't
Oh,
cost you
gee,
very
God, now
much.
you sound like Atlanta.
Well,
Ugh.
I mean, yeah.
Well, because wait, how many people are in your chapter right now?
We have like I think are we up to like 60?
Okay, yeah.
But I
No, I mean and I was talking about this with a lot of people. That's like the challenges of a lot of the smaller chapters. Is like if you only have so many members, you're not as lucky to be able to fly in a lot of the people, especially from great distances. I mean, we've flown in people from all over this year because
yeah, yeah. Like
we
I said, I
decided
met
to spend
that
some
guy from
money.
Wisconsin. Like I met him last January. I said, "Oh, we're gonna, but when you tell me how much you want to charge us, I'm just like, oh, it's not gonna happen."
Well, though, I mean, honestly, a lot of really good ISIS members and speakers and stuff, they don't charge a speaker's fee. I mean, you have to pay their hotel and their flight or what have you, but like King Dal doesn't charge a speaking fee.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Ken
Well,
Christopherson didn't charge us.
we'll need to find a good one. For February, we want to do a program on how to enter awards to get people ready for galas and esprits and all that good stuff. So we need to find a good speaker for that. If you have anybody in mind,
Um, Jody Collin, honestly.
let me write that down.
I mean, she'd be a good one to bring because she's about to be the president, and also she's a CSEP. She speaks on that, and she created the Minnesota Awards program, which
Okay.
is modeled after the Esprits.
Uh-huh.
So she's one that if you brought her in, like we're bringing her in, she's coming here in January, and she's going to be here for like 4 days. We're
Okay.
doing like 2 lunches with her, a CSDP discussion group, and a monthly meeting. Like we're totally sucking
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I would reach out to Jody for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, she's an ace. All
Sounds
right.
good.
Mm.
Well, thank you for
All right.
thinking of me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for doing it. I definitely appreciate you taking the time, especially around the holidays. So
Yeah. Well, I'll see you in Cali.
you sure will. All right. Take care.
See ya.